Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Urbans.
And I'm Denise Urbans.
Welcome to It's Your Water. I'm glad you found us. Today's quick tip will cover mixing different medias in the same tank. Is it a good idea? Just need to remember this. When you mix, you're pushing design parameters, the original design parameters of the manufacturer setup. It's kind of cheating, so here's the scoop. Should I mix resins? Anion and cation? Well, this could go wrong really fast if your hardness is over 8 grains. In a mixed resin tank, this will create a calcium bicarbonate and clog the drain. The reaction happens faster as the hardness levels go up. So just think of it this way. Your anion sits on top, your cation's on the bottom. Your anion uses the chloride portion, which sets up a bicarbonate. Your cation uses the sodium portion of the sodium chloride, and it sets up the calcium. Your bicarbonate comes through, calcium bicarbonate forms in the drain, and pow, it clogs your drain up. Or it calcifies your cation. It creates a problem. Over 8 grains. It's like the magic number. Someone came up with that.
Okay.
Yeah. So not really recommended on hard water. We do not recommend it for nitrates or arsenics because that's a primary contaminant. You're dealing with health situations now. So due to the lack of sufficient time to complete the ion exchange process, you could have what's called leakage. It can't grab the ions fast enough because you cheated the bed. Now you have a half a cube and a half a cube, say, and you put it in the same tank, or 1 cube and 1 cube. You can get leakage. And what leakage is you can't leak nitrates. If you leak hardness, people say, oh, I got 1 grain leakage. Yeah, they don't know. They don't know you have 1. Iron you would, but you can't leak 1 part per million or 10 parts per million of arsenic or
good
or nitrates. So don't do it. But where does it work? Who was the guy that said, you know what, this works? Where we see it works is slight amounts of tannins in low hardness water, of course. How much tannin? Well, it's up to you guys. And what your mad world experiment.
Does it look like chamomile tea or does it look like oolong?
Or how dark is your water? If you can get it to work in your backyard, the anion will sit on top. And what happens is anion's very light. It's a lot lighter. Takes half the backwash that cation would take. So you have to use an upper screen. And if you don't, you can't throttle the backwash low enough or your anion will go right out the drain.
Expensive anion.
Yeah, expensive anion. It'll clog your piston, create problems with your injector. Yeah, the upper screen. It would be very, very low tannins where you would just have a light tinge in the water and fairly soft water. We're painting a picture here. You see where we're going? Now, that's anion, cation. That's ion exchange. Fairly simple. People do it a lot, but make sure your hardness is below 8 grains. That's your quick tip on that. Now, filter medias. Can we mix filter medias? Again, we have specific gravities that are different and different reactions that happen. I wouldn't mix resin and carbon because the carbon's heavier and it falls to the bottom of the tank. So your cation will sit on top and your carbon's going to be on the bottom. And now it won't work because your cation only needs 5 gallons a minute per square foot. Your carbon needs 8 gallons a minute per square foot. So backwashing. So your cation's going to sit on top. And okay, for taste and odor, not chlorine, that might work. But if you have chlorine in the water, it's going to damage your cation. So your carbon should be on top. But we're going to discuss how to get around that. So we'll mention how you can get around this situation. Maybe what works, green sand and calcite. A lot of guys, they're kind of the same specific gravity, 12 gallons a minute per square foot. So they mix well. I mean, they play together well.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd want the calcite on top of the green sand because you want to raise that pH up to quicken the oxidation process, which aids the green sand. But then again, green sand needs a lot of residence time. So you might need a bigger bed, but your calcite could remove it. Again, try it in your own backyard, but some guys will do it. And water with a pH of 6.2 and low iron under 1 part per million, I would say you could do it. You're just below the pH parameter. You just a little bit of iron. You could do it. Another maybe would be green sand and Filter Ag Plus. We just did a quick tips on that. That works well because if you have a sediment color, the green sand will get rid of a lot of the iron, where the Filter Ag Plus will filter.
Mm-hmm.
And they use about the same backwash rate. The green sand will sit on top of the Filter Ag Plus. So it will handle the iron and color, and then your Filter Ag Plus will catch anything the green sand didn't. We do it a lot in the fusion ozone system.
Right.
We have a little ozone generator.
It's condoned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This will catch, like I said, some slight color in the iron that green sand missed. Bottom line here, wrapping it up, what is the right way? What can we do? I mean, is there any right way? Yes. With the invention of plated tanks, you keep the medias physically separated by chambers that have been built into the same tank. So they have plates, which are plastic slotted, and they are the whole diameter of the tank. Everybody listening should know that they're out now, but a couple tank manufacturers have now made these chambered tanks. So what's that do? It keeps everything physically separated. So now you could put the carbon in the top and your cation in the bottom. Even though it's different backwashers, well, the cation will just kind of get pushed up against the plate, but it'll still be protected.
Won't go anywhere.
Carbon. So you have taste and odor removal, and so it does, but the tanks are only limited to 13-inch and 10-inch, so you can't get a whole lot of media in these tanks. Maybe a cube in the top and a cube in the bottom, half a cube in the top, half, 1 cube in the, it depends on where the plates are.
I mean, for the consumer, it saves space.
It saves a lot of space.
Money, and gives you a lot to work against the competition with.
Yep. And the anion, will stay, you could put that under the cation now. It still will calcify the drain at 8 grains. Don't do that. But it'll work, and it does work really well. In your calcite on top of the cation resin, a lot of people do that, and they have fill plugs in there so you can keep adding more calcite. So that was the old school. People used to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to watch your pH. You got to know, because you can't put a lot.
It's a bit of a witch's brew.
Yeah, you got
trying to figure it out
and finesse your mixtures. But chamber tanks have really changed the game in mixing, because what are you doing? You're not mixing.
Okay.
So,
one caveat, though, there is something called mixed bed resin, which you buy mixed. It's pre-mixed, but it's not for household use. Right. Yeah. But it is called mixed bed resin.
Well, people use it. But
that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
Just to clear that up.
So next up is CeraPure AC. It's a really neat product, and why it's been developed is because episode 10, KDF Cubes, was a great product, but is no longer manufactured. It is an X product. So if you're listening to that, you get all excited about KDF Cubes. Sorry. Wah, wah, wah. It is gone. It is extinct. But there is hope. CeraPure AC. So listen up. That's it, everybody. Trust the Frog. Thanks for listening.
This podcast was edited by Resonate Recordings.